I wish you all could see how I'm recording this because it's kind of funny. I'm sitting in a luxury hotel lobby in Wrocław, Poland. It's a My friend is looking at me and nodding. Wrocław is it's a small city in the west of Poland, and I have a cup of Americano in my right hand, and then I have a mic in my left hand. About 9 feet in front of me is the table where my friend and I are co-working at. And it's been a busy day, so I have to record this podcast at the co-working location in the lobby of this hotel where we were working from. And then on the table is my laptop with a chart open, and it's my follower growth from March earlier this year, 2023, a specific time in March. And it's the time of the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Because last night, my time, afternoon, East Coast time, I guess morning, or early afternoon, West Coast time, it was announced that Sam Altman was fired as CEO, just fired from ChatGPT parent company, OpenAI. And I immediately recognized this is hot news. This is something that everyone in my world is going to be talking about. My world being startups, tech, growth hackers, people who are just into doing things in an efficient manner. Sure, a lot of tech people. And everyone's going to be talking about this. So I said, okay. Ryan Holiday, he calls it newsjacking. When you take a piece of news that everybody is talking about that's going viral and you use it for your own content, for your own brand to get attention to your own brand. But I wanted to know, of course, the videos that I make about this, and it was only 2 hours or maybe an hour after this was announced that I started making videos about it. But before I even made those videos, I wanted to know, will I get followers from this? Will I get an audience that will stick? And so back during the Silicon Valley Bank collapse, when it was announced, I also recognized this was hot news. This is something that everybody in my space was talking about. And I was making 4 to 5 videos a day about the collapse. And so I looked at my follower growth of that time. As many of you know, I chart my followers on TikTok every morning at 6 a.m. So I was able to see if I grew more during that period because of what I was doing. I remember those videos. The minimum that one of those videos was getting was 50,000 views. That was a minimum that one of those videos was getting. And then one of them ended up being the most viewed video in the world on the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. But the minimum was 50K views. So I look at my follower growth and I see that I'm actually going to my computer now. So I'm walking the 9 feet to look at my computer. My friend is to my right. Still have my Americano in my right hand. And I see that on the day of the collapse, going from the 9th to the 10th was the day that the collapse happened. The day-over-day difference in followers was 34. And on that day, the 10th, I made 4 videos about the collapse. The next day was 50. The videos didn't get 50K all at once. It took a few days. But then it goes on the 11th to the 12th, when more people are hearing about the collapse and it's becoming bigger news. It goes from 50 day over day to 714. The next day, it increases again by 1,000. It goes from 714 to 1,716. The next day, it goes to 1,093 day over day difference. So I gained, in 2 days, I gained 3,000 followers, which is far above the norm for that time. And then after that, I was gaining in the hundreds. And so indeed, by doubling down on content that people cared about, a subject that everyone in my niche was talking about, I was able to get a lot of followers from this, people who would engage with future pieces of content. And that's what I decided to do last night. And so the news of Sam Altman stepping down was announced. I was in my hotel room here in Wrocław. I was so tired and I was ready to go to sleep. I had already made my daily TikTok. In fact, I had made 2. And I said, this is big news. I'm not going to ignore this. I'm gonna crank out 2 videos. And so what I did is I cranked out 2 videos. The first one is, I think, up to 100,000 views. Then I was in the zone. So I put out my newsletter, my weekly growth hacking newsletter early. And that newsletter was exactly about what I'm talking to you about now. If you want to read that newsletter, you can read an archive of my newsletters over at edwardsturm.com/articles. But then I was still in the zone. So I made 2 more TikToks. I made 2 more. And let me tell you what I did this morning. The TikTok that's almost at 100,000 views, I took that and I reposted it to my Reels only. As many of you listening knows, I discovered this glitch, this hack, call it whatever you want to call it, this shortcut on Instagram, where if you take a piece of content that it goes viral on TikTok, if you repost that to the Reels section only on Instagram, it will usually go viral again and again and again. So when you have a viral piece of content on TikTok, it's usually good enough that if you repost it to Reels only, not to your profile grid on Instagram, it can go viral indefinitely. Pretty exciting. So then I took that one that got almost 100,000 on TikTok. I reposted it to Instagram, and now it's up to almost 13,000 views on Instagram. And it had already come out the night before through the automation that I have set up where my TikToks automatically come out to Reels only. But I just reposted it using the method that I've talked about before. And now that first one, when it was reposted, there's a lot of inconsistencies between social media. But if you keep at it, you usually find the consistencies and the things that make successes happen. And that's what I try to do on the show is share those. And I have a lot of episodes talking about Instagram, so I won't go deep about that here. You actually even wrote an article. It's edwardstrom.com/articles. I think it's called I 3X my Instagram followers. If you want to hear exactly how I do that. But the night before, the same video, which has like 100K views on TikTok, came out to IG Reels only through the automation I have set up. And then I used this method that I have and I reposted it. Now it's up to 13,000, a new one, a new video, but the same video just reposted with this method is up to 13,000. And what I'm doing is I am taking trending news and spinning it to my niche, newsjacking. And people seem to like it. After this, I'm going to make another TikTok about the OpenAI and Sam Altman. This one won't be reporting on news. This one will be spinning it more directly to my niche, maybe talking about a growth hack with OpenAI or ChatGPT, or how excited I was to be using ChatGPT. Maybe I'll tell a story. Maybe I'll record it on this exact mic, sitting on this luxury chair in this luxury hotel lobby with my Americano. I very well may do that. So yeah, this episode is about newsjacking. If you work in tech, if you work in startups, if you work in marketing, especially digital marketing, and you're making content, find a way to incorporate what's going on right now with OpenAI and Sam Altman into your content because people pay attention to it more. It's an actual growth hack because all you have to do is incorporate the subject matter just a little bit and it makes people's brains buzz just a bit more and engages people's brains just a bit more. And if you don't work in tech and startups, maybe you're a musician and you listen to this, or maybe you're a YouTube gamer and you listen to this. I have people of both of those fields who listen, and talking about Sam Altman and OpenAI would be irrelevant. If that's the case, then look for trending news in your niche that everybody is talking about. And if there is something like that, talk about it too. This is episode, I think it's 136 of The Edward Show. I'm losing count. I am losing count now because I've done so many and I'm going to keep doing them. Day after day after day after day, 7 days a week. I have not missed a day. People think I'm crazy when I tell them I do this, and I am. I'm a crazy man sitting publicly in a hotel lobby. People walking by, waiters, security, guests of the hotel, staring at me, speaking in Polish, speaking in Ukrainian, speaking in Czech, in German, so many different European languages, and I'm here speaking in English. This guy from New York, this guy from Brooklyn, an Americano in his hand, recording his podcast because I am what everybody thinks. I am a crazy man. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to all of you again tomorrow. Bye now.